I realized quickly that we have a lot in common. We're in the industry of people. We are here in this area to provide the best service.
I was lucky enough to learn how to teach. Locs is really a specialty trade. We're kind of at a disadvantage here in Utah as far as professional cosmetologists go. They're required very little training, where we require all the foundation, all the basics, and then some. It's a whole world that hasn't even been touched.
Welcome to another episode of The Fifth Element. I am Jamie Graham, and I am joined with some lovely locked and bonded women. Hopefully you notice that all of us are quite dreadlocked. And I'm here to invite Britt as the owner of Deep Rooted Dreads, and we're here to talk a little bit about business.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank
you
for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you could introduce both of you, that would be
sure.
fantastic.
My name's Britt, and this is Jessica, my current apprentice, here for moral support today.
Yay. And I actually think that's a great place to start. So as I have grown in a relationship with Britt over the last year of seeing her on a regular basis for maintenance of my locks, I realized quickly that we have a lot in common. So plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and your business are in the same industry. We're in the industry of people. And we, I think, have very similar core values, and that is education and service. Like, we are here in this area to provide the best service, as well as educate new apprentices, educate our community. And so I'd like to start there. In our industry, we have, industry standards. We've got apprentices, we've got journey workers, and levels of mastery. These are dictated by the state of Utah or a local municipality, depending on in what state you're in. And I have really grown to appreciate these standards. They are a metric. It's what we say and what we agree to as education and moving through a program, whether it's based on experience or examinations. They are really important to our industry. And you have some levels of even STEM language, apprenticeship, mastery that is very similar. So I'd like to just kind of start with talking about what is an industry standard level of mastery for you, and how do you progress through that?
Okay. So we pride ourselves in high quality service. And that starts from the moment the client walks in the door to the time, like follow-up care, anything that they would need from us throughout their journey. And it is a journey, so they're continually calling on us. And I taught for Paul Mitchell for a handful of years, and I was lucky enough to learn how to teach through multiple intelligence, and really just speaking to all the learning types to make sure that we're hitting the mark. So we're lucky enough that we get some cosmetology students that already have that foundation, but Locs is really a specialty trade that you go into after you have the foundation. And unfortunately, for us here in Utah and really in the United States, there's no education around dreadlocks. New York, I think, just issued that it is mandatory that they incorporate type 3 and 4 into their curriculum. But Utah went the opposite direction, and in January, they just released that you no longer have to have 2,000 hours of education. They've broken it up into trades. So, for instance, barbering only requires you to have 130 hours of education, which is nothing. And so we're kind of at a disadvantage here in Utah as far as professional cosmetologists go. They're required very little training, where we require all the foundation, all the basics, and then some. So our apprenticeship focuses on the type 3 and 4 hair that unfortunately nobody knows about. We're picking up where there is nothing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's exciting to me, especially like coming from a background of education. I appreciate that you already commented on people learn different, different ways, and there's different methods of teaching, and just because you've mastered a craft doesn't mean you can teach a craft. Those are very different skill sets. So you're kind of in uncharted territory. And
right.
are you creating the curriculum yourself? Where are you pulling from resources? How did you even get to the point where this is something you're passionate about?
Yeah, okay. I am creating the curriculum myself because unfortunately there is none. YouTube University is where I went to learn everything. And it actually started when I was done doing hair. I had been in the industry for 20 years. Started when I was 17, did the work release program where I left high school and went to the trade center half the day. And luckily, my mom insisted that if I wasn't going to go to college, that I had a trade. So that's what I chose. I actually wanted to go into welding, but she didn't see a future for me in that. And so I went with cosmetology. And in the My Ladies book, which is the book that all cosmetologists throughout the whole United States study from, and this is 30 years ago till now, there is one sentence in the paragraph of hairstyling chapter that says dreadlocks, natural hairstyle. And that's all we're taught. That's all any cosmetologist across the United States has been taught. That's all the curriculum that is in that cosmetology program. So we're picking up where there is nothing. And I've just started because I taught and know how to put a lesson plan together and bullet points and all the things that I've learned over the past 6 years of doing just Locs. I've been able to build a curriculum where we do a 4-week course and we take them from the foundation all the way through the art of locking and braiding and all things natural hairstyling.
Wow.
It's a whole world that hasn't even been touched.
I love it. Every part of it. I think the following your passions, finding a need, all of those things, educating, and maybe you can speak about it, Jessica, about what your experience has been so far and kind of how you ended up and what you've taken away already from the program you're in.
Absolutely. I started my journey about 4 years ago with braided extensions. I started that journey by wanting to change. I had gone through different hairstyles growing up. I was always coloring to try to change how I felt on the inside by changing how I felt on the outside. So I ended up getting braid extensions, and I would switch them out every few months, about a month and a half. And I moved to Utah and from the East Coast, Maine, and they really didn't have any culture around extensions, especially not dreads or any kind of locking. So when I moved here and went to Deep Rooted Dreads to have my braids redone, I guess, I started learning about the different styles that you can have and saw a big influx of people coming in and wanting to get dreads, which I had never really seen before. So that's what kind of got me into wanting to become a loctician. I got to see the clients come in and how it's really an intentional process, and it's not just like mixing hair color and putting, changing the color. It's actually a lifestyle. just kind of going on your own whim and not conforming, I guess. So I'm in my second week of the loctician program, and already some of the stigmas that I've grown up with have already been proven false. And a lot of what I'm learning is very interesting, and it's really a choice and a lifestyle, and just how you can change it up and still, be able to have the different feeling that you get from doing locks or dreadlocks or extensions. It really helps pull what's inside and brings it to the outside.
I think that that's it leads me to my next question is like, it's one thing for you to master your craft, right? You've demonstrated that through your experience, through your training, through your prior teaching, and it continues. It's a completely different thing to like continue within that world, and even your growth journey never learns, right? Continue to grow and learn and to provide the best service. But it's a completely different thing where you made an intentional decision to teach other people. And it obviously there was a need, but what's the bigger plan here? What are you thinking about doing, and why are you passionate about it? Because I think like your service is phenomenal. You make me feel welcomed every single time. I was terrified to do something permanent to my hair, and before even meeting you, I could tell and feel what kind of person you were via text. And then to grow in a relationship with you over a year has been really great for me. I don't have many friends, and I definitely consider you one of them. But this now, like you're breeding locticians.
Yes.
Like, what are you gonna do? What does this look like?
So the goal, obviously, some people would say that I'm crazy, right? Sharing my craft with others. And there's been times where I have second guessed myself, like, what am I doing? Because up to this point, I've had 6 apprentices over the course of the last 6 years. And they're all out doing their own thing. They're all working in a shop, which is great. That speaks volumes for me that they were able to go out and build a career out of a trade that they invested in themselves. And they were able to quit their full-time day job, security, and go out on their own and start to build clientele and see that there is a need for it. And there's also a livelihood that they can create a livelihood out of it. Also, I'm creating competition, right? In some sense, but not really, because my goal is way bigger. I've been behind the chair for 30 years now. I started when I was 17 in high school, and I'm almost 47. So I've put my time in behind the chair. I want to grow an empire, and the goal is to travel, to do festivals, to go to schools and spread diversity and educate people on the art of locking and the art of braiding, and knowing that there is such a need for it. We just came from a local beauty school here that there was 35 students in it, and out of the 35, looking at their faces, it's something that we don't know a lot about. And there is some stigmatism surrounding it and some fear. And I love going in and educating and breaking down that fear and transmuting the stigma and just like, hey, you can express yourself however you want to. And the purpose and the passion have changed, It started that I wanted to work my husband out of a job. I was a well-kept wife, I was very well taken care of. My husband worked very hard, and I wanted to provide a way for us to be able to work together and for him to not have to work so hard. So the goal was to create something that we could do together. We wanted to become carnies, full-time carnies, like hit the road and just travel and spread that good word of dreads. And in June of 2024, my husband did quit his day job. He started to work Fridays with me. We got so busy that he started to work at the salon with me on Fridays. And then shortly after, he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer and Mets to the brain. And so physically, he wasn't able to do his day job, and it kind of forced him into the salon full time. And he took my apprenticeship program, and we were working side by side. And that was the goal and the passion, and we did it. And it was beautiful. When I first told him I'm going to open up a lock shop, I had to make him see the why, the how, and that's hard to do sometimes, without the background and the education and the knowing. Like, I just knew I could make this work. And he supported me anyway. He was involved in every step of the process, and he is deep-rooted dreads. In July of last year, he passed away, and the purpose has shifted a little bit, the passion is still there, but I have a team of girls now that drive me and keep me motivated, where my purpose and my why was to work him out of a job. Now my purpose and why is to work them into a job, right? I have my daughter working for me, and Crystal, who's been with me since the beginning, my first apprentice, stayed with me, and she relies on me, and Jess relies on me. So they keep me going in a sense. But I want to own property. I want to open a dog rescue. I don't want to be behind the chair for another 30 years. So I need to breed locticians and share this knowledge so that we can get it out there and people can start feeling okay and dropping those stigmas and dropping the fears. And, the school that we were at today, I'm looking around the room like, okay, who's interested? Who's not interested? Because some of the girls' eyes are bugging out of their head, right? When I say certain things, they're just like, we did a giveaway, and I said, who wants to be a volunteer to get dreads today? And she's just like, okay, not you. But we did have a volunteer, and we had interest at the end, and this gentleman came up to us and just very intrigued, like, how can I learn more? Where can I go to find out more about your education program? And there are going to be those few that want to take it to the next level. So I'm happy to put the curriculum together and feel confident that I'm going to deliver good quality information that they're going to go out and be able to work on their own, or stay and run my shop so that I can go and work from home or something, So
the progression is so similar. Like, we are so parallel. Other companies have said to us, like, why are you so persistent on technicians, like moving through apprentices, journey worker, master plumber, or HVAC technician, whatever it is. And it's because those are valuable skills. And I'm never going to ever not push somebody towards that, because I'm afraid that they're going to become my competition. And I think that the other side of that is, you get to a point where you know who you are, you know what your skill set is, that competition isn't really an issue anymore, and you can really appreciate collaboration. So I think everything you're doing is wonderful. I think you are a wonderful human being. I can't wait to see where your journey takes you, and I appreciate you for being a part of mine. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
It
Jessica.
has been my pleasure.
And we'll keep you posted, and we'll see where this future takes you and your next shop that you'll open. It's crazy, the need and the amount of people that Britt gets from Vegas, you were telling me different areas, like there is a need for people to seek out highly skilled, highly qualified people who know the science and the art of locking. So
And there's so much to learn. Even now, 30 years into my career and 6 years specializing in just locks alone, I learn new stuff every single day. New stuff comes out every single day. I will never claim to be a master of my craft. I feel like there's no topping out. And there is only collaboration, right? Because the more locticians we have out there, the more dreadheads we have out there, the more of our community grows, and we are expanding. You know, we do have people coming from Vegas and Salt Lake and Arizona, and that's because there's a need for it. They don't have locticians there, so they're finding their closest one. And we're happy to fill that, but we want to expand like you guys. We want to have shops in, neighboring cities, and just everybody has locks.
Yay.
yes. Yeah, so keep an eye out for us. We're here. We're educating our community. We are elevating service everywhere we go. That is fundamental to deep-rooted dreads and Element Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Fifth Element, and we'll see you soon.